go.
Oh,
Am I
All
on
right.
TV now?
You're on TV, Mona. Welcome to the Cucumber New Contributors Ensemble. I'm Matt Wynn. I'm here in Nelson, BC in Canada. And I'm joined by Mona Gassamy. Is that how I say your last name?
Oh, if you really want to say it right, it's Gosamy.
Gossamy.
awesome.
Oh, Blaise got it pretty close. That's good.
Like rhymes with awesomey.
That's my new thing.
And you're
yes.
and you're somewhere in are you in Toronto? I can't remember. Somewhere in Canada, aren't you?
I'm in Montreal.
Montreal, that's right. That's right. And then Blaise Pabon down in Massachusetts somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere in Massachusetts.
Yeah. Somewhere in Massachusetts. So why are we here? Well, we're here because in 2017, GitHub surveyed over 10,000 open source contributors and just 3% of them were women. And we believe our open source communities will be stronger, more vibrant, and more effective if they are a more balanced representation of all the wonderful people in the world. And open source can provide huge benefits to people who participate, so we want those benefits to be available to all. But people need a place to start. So we hold this session each week for anyone, that could be you, who is new to contributing to open source, especially people from groups who've historically been underrepresented in open source communities. And our goal is to provide a fun and welcoming environment where everyone can learn why and how to contribute to open source. And we use an ensemble programming format or a mob programming format for these sessions, which means everyone who wants to gets a turn at the keyboard. And as we do that, we follow these principles: safety over comfort, equity over efficiency, and exploration over perfection. Right, so here we are. And we've been working on the problem that the Cucumber organization has, which is that we've got a lot of contributors from a long time, like 10 years of the project, who have permissions in the GitHub organization but aren't really active anymore, and that presents a little bit of a security risk. So we've been working on this GitHub Action to try and retire some of those contributors into a different security group, so they stay in the organization, to give them kudos for their and to recognize their historical contribution, but they're no longer sort of able to make commits to the repos. So I've actually been away for a few weeks. So what's been happening, Blaise? What have we been doing?
Well, we've been since those of us who have shown up are less familiar with the code, we've been primarily setting up the context. So we did fix some of the documentation and tightened up the README to make it more consistent with the switch, the pivot, if you will, towards GitHub Action.
You're right, because we started it out as we're thinking that we would use a probot for it, and we've sort of abandoned that idea now. Yeah.
Right.
So I'm just getting the code up. And what do you think is the next step, Blaise?
Well, if we're satisfied with, I guess the next step would be to test and make sure that it executes properly as an action, and then merge it into main, because main presumably should always be deployable. So we probably want to test before we do the merge.
Actually, I think that we have been working on turning it into an action as in the main branch anyway.
Oh, well, there you have it. So
what we had in
end-to-end testing.
Yeah, what we had in a branch was this this ADR that I wrote, and architectural decision record, and so I think actually that would be a really good first step, wouldn't it? Would be to merge that ADR in. So perhaps you two could review that, because it was my work. I submitted that asynchronously between sessions. So maybe you two could read through that. Mona, you'd be a great person to read it, because you're kind of probably got the least context, so you can see if it helps you to understand why we made the decision and stuff.
Right. So I've got an invite to the test inactive contributor action. Is that what I should be looking at?
No, it's not right now. So I set that up just before because I was thinking that the second step that Blaise just talked about there, where we want to like turn it into an action and run it. I've set us up a new GitHub organization just today, just beforehand. So we've got somewhere that we can run tests of this action in. So we'll probably come back and use that in a minute. If I share my screen a minute, I'll show you the pull request I'm talking about.
All right, so the inactive contributor bot repo?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I see a pull request on there.
Yeah. Well, maybe you share your screen then, Mona, and you can talk us through what you're
my
doing.
screen. Okay, let me...
Oh, is it a mess?
I think I can do it. I think I just pulled a tab out so you don't have to see all of my million other tabs. Is this the one? I mean, there was only one. Yeah, it's the same one. Okay, I can share my screen if you like.
Cool.
And
Because
steal-
this is reviewing pull requests from other people is a very kind of common activity for us to do in open source. So this would be a fun thing to have on the stream for people to watch.
So should I just start reading at the top?
Yeah, I think it'd be good if what happens now is you and Blaise have a conversation, which is going to lead to us either making some review comments back to the person that submitted the pull request, which is me, or us merging it in. And
Sure.
I'll try and stay quiet because I already know what's in the pull request because I wrote it.
All right, so this is a pull request to add an ADR about the decision to move from Probot to GitHub Actions. I don't think I know what an ADR is, but
Okay.
there's a little link right here. Maybe I can see what that says. Architectural decision records. It's a software design choice that addresses a functional or non-functional requirement that is architecturally significant. Okay. I think that's enough. Basically, how we're implementing this functionality, I guess, right?
Yeah, why? In other words,
Why?
it's very often when you join a project midstream, you wonder why certain people, how did we get here? And did we consider this or that or the other? So ideally, an ADR would basically say, look, we made a decision. We had these following choices, and this is why we chose this. This,
That's why it's a record.
It's a record, and this is why we didn't. This is why we chose not to do these other things.
Cool.
Now, I suppose, the advanced level folks would keep track of dependencies and have some way of tagging things so that if some fundamental technology changed, they would immediately know which decisions were impacted. But that's like, I don't have a readily available way to do that.
All right, so the motivation here is to document the context around the decision for transparency and future reference. Sounds exactly like the definition we just read. This is a refactoring debt change, improve to code design without changing behavior. All right. Feedback. Matt wants feedback with, does what I've written reflect your understanding of the decision? And is anything unclear? All right. Sounds simple enough. So, okay, this is the checklist. So Matt has agreed to uphold the Cucumber Community Code of Conduct. Very good. We like to see that.
That's a mandatory one.
Yeah, we've not changed the behavior of the code. Good to know. My change requires a change to the documentation, and I have updated the documentation accordingly. Looks good. And users should know about my change. Sounds like we don't need to know that, given that it's not affecting code. So that all, or not affecting functionality. Sorry, I misspoke. All right, so that looks pretty good to me.
That's
think then we
our
can.
work from last time. Yay.
So should we look at the files then? Are we ready?
I think
I
so.
want.
I
Okay,
think,
cool.
I mean, I think that so we have Kate and I were assigned some reviews, so we can go ahead and do that. We don't necessarily have to tie up the group's activity with it, but by all means, yeah, go through and yeah,
Yeah, I was just like checking in that
sure.
everyone is still following.
We'll
Okay,
do
so
it.
we've got 2 files changed. Oh, it's pretty short. So we've changed the title here. And I wonder, right, because it's no longer a bot and it's a GitHub action. So maybe that's why the naming here changed. Right, that's what it says right underneath. Setup. Okay, so this is removed because it's no longer relevant. That describes what it does. Okay, there's some context on the previous implementation. All right. I guess I'm curious what this actual looks like, but I'm not sure what status accepted means other than this is just documentation, but the previous decision was already accepted in terms of the actual action itself. That's what I understand.
Yeah, so when this is a kind of a standard template for an ADR, and
Okay.
you can also, because they're all in version control, you can put them in as proposed, right, and then discuss them and refine them and then change them to accepted later. So you can kind of have the discussion within the history of the Git repository, potentially. In this case, I think we've already accepted the decision, so I was kind of writing it up post facto. So it didn't need to be, but that's the reason you have a status, because you might be writing up a decision that's still in flux.
I'm just reading through the rest of this file.
But she's got a good point, because what are the different statuses? Could there not maybe be somewhere where there's a reference to kind of like a workflow to say that status can either be rejected, accepted, in pending, or something?
Yeah, maybe we could have a README in the ADR directory that explains a bit more about what ADRs are. That might be helpful, but we could probably do that separately.
Okay, that's interesting. So the repository itself has a documentation folder with all the ADRs. So it's basically an archive of the decisions
exactly
being made.
And you see how it's numbered 0001. The idea is that
is it the first one then?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Very good. Well, this is.
But you're going to make a lot of decisions.
And the idea is that in a long running project, you'd have tens or hundreds of these.
Very cool. So I read this. I don't think I have any questions, but I think that's based on the fact that, right, the request, let's look back at the actual, I think it's the conversation actually. What did I just do? Conversation.
That's it, yeah.
We're looking for, does what I've written reflect your understanding of the decision, and is anything unclear? It seemed pretty clear to me, and my understanding of the decision is based on, I guess, this meeting, and I think I was in a previous one a couple weeks back where some of this discussion was had. So I think it covers what I know of this decision.
Great.
So,
And Blaise has left a comment, look.
yes. Okay. Okay. Here's what I'll do. Just give me a sec.
I also oh my goodness, look at that. You're like hardcore.
This one is good.
Love it.
There.
I love it.
So you can see down here that we've also used GitHub's kind of review workflow here. So we've got one approval and one pending reviewer. Can you see that? Just down below your cheesy pizza guy.
Yes. So that's Carla, who is not in the meeting.
Yeah, and she's not had a chance to look at it, evidently.
So.
But you can also see one approval, and I guess that'll be Blaise probably a minute ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't. The thing with GitHub Actions, depending on our settings in our organization, and they're pretty loose in the Cucumber organization. The reviews are sort of, what's the word? They're not required. So you can see, Mona, you have the permission. If you scroll down, it's offering you the option to press the green merge pull request button, even though Carla hasn't reviewed it.
Well, should I?
Well, so
I could also, I guess, I suppose I could also say that I've reviewed this, but I haven't been requested. I guess I can add myself.
You could, yeah.
Should I?
Yeah, if you want.
Do I have permission?
I mean, we're playing with the tooling here really, because this is a trivial change, right? We're just changing a little bit of documentation, so it's not a big deal. But it's good to play with the tooling.
If our goal is to merge it, even though Carla hasn't had a chance to review, is our goal to merge it during this meeting?
Yeah, definitely. I'd like to merge it and then move on to the next stuff. Yeah.
Sure. Let's do it.
How do I, how do I approve it now?
Oh. Yeah, exactly.
There we go. Yeah, there we go. So I can. It feels naughty. Like I just approved it, and I'm also clicking the merge button.
She's not going to be angry with you.
So we just merge regular. No need. Yeah, I don't think that would even make any difference in terms of squash or anything like that.
So do we understand what those three different options mean, folks? Because that's maybe.
I do, but I don't want to get into a religious debate about it. There are bars in Mountain View where you can get thrown out if you're on the wrong side of the issue.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what the conventions are in Cucumber generally is that we generally use squash.
Okay.
And the reason is that we like to keep the main branch clean, so have fairly clear commit history in the main branch. But we also like for people to be able to have kind of messy pull requests where they've just committed, very atomic small changes, and that's absolutely fine. But then when we merge it in, we tend to squash it. So it's okay for people to make a bit of a mess in their pull request and do lots and lots of commits as they kind of maybe go back and forth with review comments or whatever. But then when we merge it into main, we tend to squash. And in fact, we've often got a sort of default setting on the repo that says squashing is the only thing you're allowed to do, which we don't have in this repo at the moment.
Okay. I mean, I can go ahead and squash if that's what we like to do. I don't. There's only 2 commits, but.
Be brave, Mona. Press the button.
I'll press the button. All right. We like what's here. I guess that's kind of
I always just leave that and just press the buttons. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Just press the buttons.
Whoop. Okay,
yes.
and it's
Do we delete the branch after we've
definitely, yeah. And in fact, let's go and fix this because there's a couple of settings there that we could just have on as default. So if you scroll up and go to the settings for the repo.
Of course.
I think
branches maybe
just scroll down in this one here first. Let's see what the options are in here. They've moved it all around recently, so I'm a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Just scroll right down in this main page.
Okay.
So
Oh, pull requests. There we go.
yeah, there we go. So turn off everything
There we
except
go.
allow squash merging,
Oh, I see.
and then automatically delete head branches.
Head branches.
Yeah.
Okay. Does that look good then?
Yeah. Allow auto merge
Alright.
is useful as well. It probably won't be that useful to us in this repo, but what that does is it allows you to, if you've read a pull request and you agree with it in principle, but the CI is taking a while to run, you can just say, yep, as long as the CI passes, you can merge this automatically, and then GitHub does it as soon as
Do we
the
have
test
the merge
pass.
requirements set up the way we want them to, though?
Not yet, maybe, but
No, maybe not. I'd probably still just leave that ticked, and then we can, when we set up testing, we can, that should just work. Yeah. So that was all I was thinking, just to set those checkboxes, just so we don't have to do
that
those
looks good
things
to
next
me.
Great.
Anything else we need to do here?
So that commit should be on main now. Let's look at the code.
Let's look at the code.
Yeah, great. And the ADR is now in the doc folder.
Right there. There we go. Oh, do we include retros in here?
Well, we were writing retros down in text files. We kind of moved to putting them in Miro more now, haven't we? But yeah, there are some of them in there.
Ta-da! Ooh, now you can see the markdown view.
Great. So I've noticed we're not running a mob timer. Do we want to try and do that?
Sure. Yeah.
Should I stop my share? Are we done here?
Yeah, we're done merging the pull request. Thank you very much.
Yay! Congratulations.
The next thing
I
we
didn't wear
talked.
my hat.
What's that?
I forgot to bring my hat.
Was
I
it
planned it.
Was it a hat day? Was that for April 1st?
Celebrate. Blaise said we should celebrate.
Oh, I
And
think
what was
I
that
remember
celebrating?
something about silly hats.
Was that celebrating the that you'd run the ensemble without this guy? Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for doing that.
Autopilot.
It was really great to see the autopilot. Yeah. So what should we do next? Blaise, you mentioned earlier, like, let's actually test it out as a GitHub action.
I think so. I'm not sure how we do that necessarily, but we probably want to have a functional, some exercise.
Yeah. I think that would be really fun. I think that would be a really good goal for today. Yes, yeah. I agree. And I think I do know how we would do it, so I can kind of coach you all through it, hopefully. Has anybody here had any experience of making GitHub Actions before at all?
Nope.
Mona has. Excellent.
I've never written one. I've used a bunch, but I don't think I've ever written one.
Yeah.
I use them like locally, in terms of just like writing, just in terms of refactoring some of the workflows that I do. I never published a GitHub action. I don't even know how that works.
Oh, cool. Right. Well, so that's what we're going to do today. So I think if I just share my screen a minute, I'll show you what I was thinking we would do. Actually, one thing I think we should start by doing, and I could just do this now, is we've called this retire inactive contributor, but the repo is still called inactive contributor bot. So I think we should probably rename it. Does everyone agree?
Sure.
Yes.
Sounds good to me.
And we have a convention in the Cucumber org that they all start with action, just so they're namespace. So I'm going to do that. Okay. If you look in the Cucumber org, you'll see a bunch of other ones that are all called action something. So there are all these ones for publishing packages and stuff. So that now makes it look like a GitHub action. It's still missing something crucial, which is that you have to have, now I think I added a link right, yeah, here. You have to have a action.yaml in the root of your repo. That is what makes it a GitHub action.
I see.
Oh, okay.
So if we have one of these, which then is pointing to like where's the code that it's going to run. That makes it a GitHub action, and we can then reference it elsewhere. So I suggest that we start by doing that. But the other thing I was going to show you was, I think what we could do is, so I made this thing and I invited a couple of you to it this morning. Test inactive contributor action. So I made a whole new GitHub organization called Test Inactive Contributor Action. And what I was thinking we could do, I don't know if we'll get time today, but soon, is once we've made our thing look like a GitHub action, we could try running it in here. Because if we try and run it in the Cucumber organization, it could have like quite dramatic consequences. We kind of want to manually test it first, right, and make sure it really works. So this would give us a safe space to play with it, was what I was thinking.
But then wouldn't we need people who haven't contributed in a year?
Well, I think that we can make that year thing a parameter. So it could actually be that they haven't contributed in the last 15 seconds or the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, given how new this is, it feels like something along those lines would make sense.
Yeah. So that's what I was thinking, and that'll help us work around it. Yeah, because otherwise it would be a bit of a slow process to test it. Yeah, so we could kind of go two ways with this. We could either start by writing a workflow here that uses the action that doesn't exist yet, kind of TDD style, or we could start by trying to make the action look like a GitHub action and then try and plug it in. I'm easy. What approach would you all like to take?
Well, I sort of feel like since this is Cucumber, we should have like some sort of a feature file. Actually, I guess we do already.
Yeah, we have a feature file for how the thing behaves, but if we want to test it by hand, we're out of the realms of Cucumber now. We need to just do the work.
Yeah, okay. I don't know. I guess in the interest of time, it seems so simple. Maybe we should just do it.
But we could do it in a sort of a TDD style, so we could work our way in from out here, and try and reference it first, and then. Oh, yes. I think that might be helpful.
Yes, and then we can include the result of the failing test and the result of the passing test.
Yeah. Or I imagine it's probably going to mostly fail. Like our goal is just going to be to get the action running in this organization, and it's not going to do anything yet, but if we can make it run, then we're sort of like exercising all the parts, aren't we?
Yes.
Kate, Mona, what do you think?
Sounds good.
Yep.
All right, should we get the mob timer up?
I've got the timer. Should I press play? Then Mona will be the driver.
I'm just trying to bring
Blaise
it up on
will be the navigator.
Brilliant.
Okay. What do you all want me to do then?
So there's a link.
Solve the world's problems.
There's the link. Are we doing it via link?
Sorry, Blaise, what are you asking?
Oh, yeah, sorry. So I guess the question is, we need to open create a action.yaml file.
Okay.
Well, if we're going outside in, though, what we want to do is create a workflow, and I think we can use this .github repo here in this org and add a workflow in here. I think if you go to actions, set up a workflow yourself.
Ah, there we go. Oh, wait.
This is the sort of thing we want to do. We want to do this. Does somebody else want to drive, though? Who's driving? Mona? Maybe you share
should I share my screen now?
Yeah.
Yes, you can share your screen, and then we'll tell you what to type in, and all you really need to do is type in.
Where was that button that you just clicked, Matt?
It's different, isn't it, for you?
Maybe the permissions are different. I don't know.
It does look a bit like that. Yeah, it does look like the permissions are different. So, did you accept your invite to this org?
I did. I believe so. But I think that,
Oh, she doesn't see settings though. We're up at the top next to
oh,
insights.
that's true. That's
Yeah.
true.
Let me check you've got the right permissions on that particular repo.
Yeah, because this is a different repo from the one that has the ADR. I think.
Because we can fix all the sort of like team permissions later, but let's
Wonder if I
just
could
make sure
anything.
you're in here. Yeah.
I mean, I sort of know where I would create the files for that, but yes.
Try now. Can you just refresh?
Sure.
There we go.
Yeah, there we are.
That's better.
All right. Try that again. We'll go in actions. Oh yeah, there it is. It's different. So what am I looking for? Set up your own workflow.
I would do that one right at the very top.
Yeah, it says hit configure.
Oh,
Or
yes,
set up,
there we are.
Set up a workflow yourself. Yeah?
Oh, there we go. It has, yeah, there we go. It starts you off with something to work off of. So do I click on start commit here, or should I
Let me think. So
edit this first?
I think we might make some changes.
Yeah.
Do we want to do a test stage first?
So this is going to be an action. This is just really trying to run the retire inactive contributors action on this organization. So the name of it would be retire inactive contributors, and then the trigger, the on, is going to be on a schedule, I think.
So like on a cron job.
Kind of.
Yeah, exactly.
I think they call them kids these days call them schedules.
It depends where you're from, Blaise.
Oh, is it?
I believe.
I call it a schedule.
Schedule.
Oh, a schedule.
Where I'm from, it's a schedule, but
Schedule,
you'll
I
do
think
this
it's on-
funny schedule thing. Yes, and you can say cron actually as a property to schedule.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. It's got a dash in front of it for
I don't know why it doesn't
reasons only YAML
like
knows.
this.
It wants to be it wants an array underneath it, so you need to do a dash underneath schedule.
Underneath cron, in front of cron. Sorry.
Yeah, in front of cron.
This is basically a YAML file, and so it's
There you go.
yeah.
And then
I
you
think
can
we
use
actually remove the space. So
normal
it's actually,
cron syntax.
What's the frequency that we want?
We want to run it all the time, right, for testing, don't we? We don't want to have to wait.
Oh, okay.
I mean, in fact, in reality here, we probably want a different trigger, like workflow dispatch, maybe, which is a way that you can just press a button. Oh, they've got that one in there already. That's good. So I can't remember cron syntax. Don't you just do like star if you want it to run every second?
Grab this guy and then.
oh, look at that.
I guess that would be every syntax, every minute.
Every minute.
I feel like that's close enough.
Yeah.
Okay. Wonder if I can just copy paste this. Not that I can't just type 5 stars, but.
And I think you're meant to put it into quotes as you pass it to the.
There we are. Okay, it's actually telling me how often that runs, so that's helpful.
Oh wow, that's beautiful.
Yes, but action schedules run at most every 5 minutes. I think I have had a situation where I tried to run something frequently, and it was not. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we can go back to cron tab guru. I think you'll end up putting a 5 in the third space.
I think it won't matter if I put this here, but
okay.
But
I see.
it's just telling me that it's not going to run that frequently.
Yeah.
But if we want to be specific about it, this is that one. Yeah. Sure.
Nice.
If we want to, but I think that it can be slightly more frequent. If I don't specify that, it could be like every 4 minutes or something. I don't know. It's varied for me in my.
But if we've got workflow dispatch as well, then we can just click a button, and every time we want to run it, that gives you like a manual run.
Yes.
Well, in that case, in the real world, we probably only need to run this maybe twice a day or
Yeah, I
once a
think
day.
we'll probably only want to run it once a day in real world. But remember, this is a testing setup,
Right.
so workflow dispatch
Okay.
will be really helpful.
I don't remember the syntax for the workflow
I think you can just leave a
dispatch.
workflow dispatch
Yeah,
as it is, unless you
Okay.
want to have any
Dispa-
parameters. So we could add that
Okay.
later, because it actually can pop up a form that asks you for settings. So for example, we could pop up a form that asked you what you wanted the minimum retirement time to be,
Oh,
Okay.
and then we could use that as we run the action probably. Right, timer's gone off.
Oh,
Are we swapping?
Sorry. Oh dear. Mona is the navigator and Matt is the driver.
Now, it's going to be tricky, though, to swap drivers here because Mona's in the middle. Actually, you know what? It's not. You can just commit it, Mona, in the state it's in. It's fine. And hand over to me. And then I'll grab the...
Or be
Just commit it as it is. Even if it's
Okay.
half done, it doesn't matter. Just put work in progress or
also
something for the
on
commit message.
mobile data because for some other reason our Wi-Fi isn't working at home. So I won't be able to connect via the stream with a code. My mobile device doesn't allow.
Okay. Well, we're just using, at the moment, we're just using GitHub's GUI anyway. So we're not using VS Code at the moment.
VS
So you've
Code.
committed it as it is, Mona. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So let me share my screen.
So as the navigator, do I get to tell you what to do?
You
Is
do
that
indeed.
is that
You're the
Or
boss.
you can kind of counsel the mob for their wisdom and then channel it
yeah.
through my
Might need
fingers.
that.
So I'm opening up the main YAML. This is the file that we've written so far. I'm going to edit it because I'm guessing we want to change it. So yeah, what do we want to do? We've got kind of this far, haven't we, to the jobs bit.
Do you want to share your screen? Because I think I'm seeing Mona's screen or somebody else's screen.
I don't know if that. I think I stopped sharing. It is Matt's
Oh, I've
screen.
shared the
It
wrong
says it's
screen.
Matt's
Ah,
screen.
Sorry,
then
I
it's
shared the
just
wrong
the-
monitor. Let me do it again. That's the one. How's that? Is that better?
Oh, nice.
Yes.
And is the font size good enough? Remember, we've had this before, haven't we? Should I make it a bit
I think
bigger?
so.
It's okay
I
for
can
me.
read it.
Oh, that's better.
Yeah,
That's
that's
better.
probably better.
Okay. Tell me what to do, Mona.
Well,
Go
folks.
get an ice cream.
Oh, yeah, we can also, those of us in the mob can pull up screens that describe how to write actions. I
Yes.
suppose.
Yeah. I'm not actually sure where we're at right now. So we wanted it on a schedule, and we wanted to have a workflow dispatch, which we said we can leave as is.
So this
What
isn't
else is
true
missing?
anymore, is it?
Or run on a schedule. Okay. What else is missing from this file?
Well, now we've got to the bit where it actually does stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So workflow is made up of one or more jobs that can run sequentially or in parallel. So there's a collection of jobs. This workflow contains a single job called build. Well, it's not going to be doing a build, is it? It's going to be more doing a retire.
And then we need to
Fine.
source the action that
Yes.
we wrote previously.
Yes.
So where does that live right now?
So what you do here is you reference the GitHub organization and then repo name and then a tag or commit, I think. So I think you
So
could
it
say
would
at
be
main and then it will
cucumber.
just pull it from the main branch.
I don't actually know where the main one is right now. Oh, inactive. So it's cucumber / inactive contributor bot.
Yes.
Except we
Or-
renamed
oh
the
wait,
repo,
no,
remember?
we renamed it. I need to refresh it. Action retire inactive contributor.
Oh, okay. Good.
So then you can
In fact, hang on a second.
use
I'll
the
go to
main
this.
branch.
Retire.
So I'm not sure about this bit here, honestly. The example they gave us was using v3, which is a tag. I
do you
suspect
have
you
tags?
can reference the main branch, but I don't know because we haven't
Well, we
done
could
any tagged releases of our thing yet, and it would be helpful if we could just use whatever's the latest on the main branch. But I don't know whether that works. But we could try.
The example that I've got just says at master.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
So master and main are equivalent, so that's
Yeah,
that
and it
work.
looks like we're using main on
But there's no versions.
repo. I don't think we need the hello world
Nope.
step. And then the next one's just another example.
Yeah. And should we get rid of this comment, which is no longer true? So what we could consider doing here, right, is actually just let me bring those back. No, neither of those have got good examples, so that doesn't help. What we could consider doing here is having, I think you do it like this with whatever we want to call the parameter.
The action takes parameters.
Yeah,
That's
so
it.
we could pass it arguments here, so we could configure how long we wanted the timeout to be, right? So instead of it being a year, we could change it to something else. We probably don't need to do that right now, but it's just worth thinking about for further on.
Okay.
This should be enough to run it.
Okay. So do we have to do a start commit?
Yep, we do. So what shall I write? Try to. So if we have a look at actions now, this workflow has a workflow dispatch event trigger. You ready?
Yeah.
Yes. Let's do it.
Dun, 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 dun. What's happening?
Oh, we can do
It's
a
queued.
Oh, queued.
What are we expecting the results should be?
It's probably going to fail somewhere.
I'm expecting
guess.
that everybody should be inactive because we didn't do a commit 5 minutes ago. It was more than 5 minutes ago. So everybody that was active should now be inactive.
Oh, look at that. It's actually...
I'm expecting that it will fail because we haven't properly configured this thing as a GitHub action yet. So it's going to try and run it, but it doesn't like it.
GitHub works with organization.
So the timer is up.
Okay.
And Mona is now the driver and Matt is the navigator.
All
Wait,
right.
are we on there? We should be on the rotation though.
That doesn't seem very rotatey, does it?
Yeah, I
We
was
just
wondering
swapped
the
over.
same.
It's just me and you.
Maybe
Just me and you
There's
in the
a
poll mode.
Wizard of Oz behind the curtain.
no one else was added to the.
Oh, sorry about that. I should have added myself. That's my problem. Oh, now everyone's there.
Yes. Do you want to do that?
Sure.
There. Let's try again.
Yes, I'm navigator. Okay.
Your navigator, Mona's driver.
Okay. So,
Oh yeah, the driver again.
yeah. You don't have to.
Okay.
If you want, you can rotate Kate in if you like.
I mean, I don't mind.
Yeah.
I don't mind, but I assume Kate should also have turns.
Okay.
Things.
What do you think, Kate? Do you want to drive or you want to navigate?
I feel I'm a little bit behind because I don't have the setup where you are, so I feel
okay.
I'm going to keep you behind, and that's why I feel like I'd rather let you guys drive and navigate.
But what's our principle? What's our principle?
True.
Let me just check.
Yes.
Right.
Safety before comfort.
Equity over efficiency. While it might be faster to have the most experienced people do the work, we're here to give space to people who've been traditionally excluded from open source.
Right.
Thank you, Matt. I feel included. So how do I
So let's slow down and get your working environment sorted out, and then you can join in properly.
I don't know when. I really don't know when.
Why don't we not start the timer until we've got your working environment straight? Do you want to share your screen?
Oh, it is stopped. So do I need a link, or do I just need the GitHub repo from somewhere? I've got GitHub open in front of me, but I need a / something.
You may have a link in your email that is an auto-generated email from...
that one was old. That was more than a week ago. That expired.
I just added to the chat the 2 links for the 2 repos.
Great.
In case that's helpful.
Which chat? The
Zoom chat.
Zoom chat?
No? Oh, no, not Zoom chat.
Oh, should I be adding it to Slack?
No, but I'm not seeing it.
I do.
Are you sending it to
you've sent it
everyone?
to me as a direct message, Mona, by accident.
Whoops. Why? Okay, for some reason, that's what the automatic setting was. I don't know why. I will send those again to everyone.
Thank you. Let me click. I've got it. So let me share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
you also do not yet have the settings menu, which is a yellow flag.
Oh.
This is the retire-inactive-contributor
okay.
one, though. The GitHub one, the test one that we were working on is the other link. Do you want to try opening the other link as well, Kate?
This one? No, that's the same. The first one. This one. No, it's the
They're
same.
all the same.
I see that Kate is an admin in the test repository.
Oh, good.
I've tried adding both Blaise and Kate as admins.
Well,
Yeah.
it looks like they're there for me. You might just need to refresh it, Kate, if that's not.
I think those 2 links are the same, Mona. Yeah, that's it. Look at the link Blaise just posted.
Kate.
Oh, I'm sorry if I ended up copying the same thing.
There we go. That's
Yes,
the one.
there we go.
Now, you haven't got... it looks like you haven't accepted your invite yet to be able to edit this file.
But
I would say.
When did you send that?
Just a seconds ago. If you click, maybe if you go... You should normally see it.
I've got it. I can say view invitation.
Yeah.
And I can say accept, but I don't have to...
This one doesn't need 2-factor authentication because it's in a different organization, so it's all right.
Yes.
Is that still a thing, Kate? We need to set up your 2FA. Is that right? So you can
but I don't really want to, because I don't really use 2FA, and then I will have to use it for everything. So as long as I can get around it, I prefer to do that.
Right. It is a requirement for being in the Cucumber org.
Kate, we can set you up with a GitHub ID that's just for Cucumber. So you could log in as whatever, Kate-Cucumber or something like that.
That's a good idea.
And then you don't have to pollute your other accounts.
Yeah, so maybe that's something we can talk about at the retro.
I only need it when I commit. If I just contribute here, then usually Matt or Blaise commits, or somebody else that's more competent.
It just means you can't push.
Code.
It just means you can't do pushes. That's all, and host the coding basically. But you should be able to edit in this repo though.
With it.
Yes. You should be able to edit in this repo. If you go into the GitHub workflows folder that's in this repo, down a bit.
The GitHub workflows.
Yep. There's a main.yaml. Very good.
So what do I need to do?
Click on that, and it'll open and then hit pencil. Now you can edit.
Although actually, we've just hit that because there isn't any editing to do in here right now, is there? We need to fix the other thing.
Yes.
Oh, I see. The path. Okay. Oh, but then she will need...
That's the
so
right one that
that's-
Mona then posted.
where I've just got to as well, Blaise. I think Kate will need editing permissions unless we'd used live share. But then Kate, I think you said that you can't use live share today because you
I
threw
doubt
mobile.
it. Yes, I
African
doubt it
internet.
because last time nothing happened. I don't know what's wrong with our internet. It's been off the entire day. Thank goodness for mobile.
Well,
So,
I'll paste the live
So-
share link anyway, just in case, and we can just give it a
All
little
right.
go.
okay.
And then
Just in the interest of everyone's schedules, we are at an hour. I don't know how long we plan on continuing.
right, yeah. Normally, what we do is we go until we run a 90-minute session, so we run until an hour
Okay.
and a half. But we'd probably stop 15 minutes early for a retro. So thanks
Okay.
for reminding us about the time, because
no
we
problem.
don't want to forget. Where's the chat window? I'm going to
I
paste.
changed
there.
Zoom.
There's the live share link in the Zoom chat if you want to try it.
Yeah, this is what happened. Ah, look at that. There's something happening. But it's super slow.
Because what we want to do now, I think, is add an action.yaml file to the root of this repository. Yep. We're getting there. What happened there then? Joining collaboration session. See down the bottom right? Something's happening. Yeah, Kate joined the collaboration session. I can see you.
Woohoo!
Is anybody
One
else
step
coming in?
for
Mona and Blaise, do you want to
mankind.
join as well? And then you can hack.
I think I'm in.
Great.
It's
Who's-
building an index.
Who's navigator? I can't
I
see
think-
the mob timer.
Blaise is navigator and Mona is driver, but she said she doesn't want to drive anymore because I manipulated the results. So let me randomize. And I'm the navigator. Damn. See what happens when you fudge the systems. So Blaise, you are the driver.
Okay, I'm signing in.
So I guess I didn't realize the app, I guess, randomly selects who's who, right?
It can.
Yes,
Okay,
I
I
pressed
thought-
random.
right. I thought it was kind of a rotation situation, but I think that
I
because
thought so. Yes.
maybe we didn't have Blaise and Kate in the first couple rounds, and that's why we just ended up with Matt and myself reversed. So it's fine.
No, I think it's because I pressed random. I never noticed the rotate button because that icon looks like refresh or reset. So I've always ignored it.
Ah, okay. So we can use rotate. I think that makes more sense
Yeah,
in
I
terms of
agree.
making
Yes.
sure everyone gets a
Yeah.
equal chance at. Well,
So Blaise, I guess you need to get that error that Matt had on the screen when he was last driving and try and figure out what it means now to fix it and then fix it.
Okay, I will do that.
And Mona and Matt, how do you think, or what do you think, how can he fix it?
Let me get that error again. Reruns.
Or am I on the wrong track?
You
or-
are on the right track, Kate. Yes. I have answers, but I'm staying quiet because I don't want to hog the
So,
mic.
Unless I'm asking for help.
so it looks like we tried to run this command, docker run blah 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 blah,
Which is
and-
probably the action. And then it says it can't find it, it's something.
So we haven't. The clue is we haven't done anything in our action retire inactive contributor repo We haven't done the crucial thing we need to do to make it be available to be executed as a GitHub action.
I was wondering about
Because
that.
there's an entry point that we need to give GitHub Actions into our repo.
Okay. Yeah, like a
I
run.shell
thought
or something like that.
maybe I missed that while I was late.
No, because we decided we were going to go outside in. So we've built this thing on the outside that can run it, and it's trying to run it, but it can't run it because it isn't in a state to be run yet.
So did you say, Matt, earlier that you needed to add a file to the root of that repo?
Yes.
And
there's a reference repo that's referenced in the README of our action as a TypeScript example that we can plagiarize.
Oh, for the other the actual action code.
Must that
bring up that link.
It wasn't the README.
There's nothing in the shared session.
Is there not?
It's just an empty VS Code,
No.
as far as I can tell.
You have to log in, and it takes a little bit of
I've
a while.
got the README open, and I can copy it's literally github.com/actions/TypeScript script dash actions. Let me paste it if it is the right one.
Yeah, that's the right one, Kate. Yep.
I'm pasting it in the chat to everyone.
Is this it?
That one. Yes.
That one. That's what we need
It's
to
a good thing we
plagiarize.
updated the README, Blaise.
Yes. That's right. So we need a package.json. Use this template. npm install. npm build. npm run. Change the code. Publish to a distribution method. So we need
update the action.yaml with your
package.
name, description, inputs, and outputs of your action. That we have done, right? Now we need to change the code. Import as core from actions core. Is that what we need to do?
No,
does
we
yours
need
look different than-
the file that's in the root of this repo, which is called action.yaml. We need that in our repo.
Steal it. Is it action or actions?
Pretty sure it's action.
Okay.
Okay. So we haven't specified yet what this action does. Okay. I didn't realize that it was an action that doesn't actually yet exist. We've only provided the documentation in terms of like the
So it's an
decision making.
inaction.
Yeah, exactly.
right.
Okay. Cool. Right. It has to match what we're trying to. Oh, but that's just the repository name, right? Okay. The other.
But
the
that's
other,
also what we call the bot. So I guess.
Yeah. But I think the one that calls it only needs to reference the repository name, not the actual name here. So it's not that we have to make it consistent in terms of like spelling and spacing and so on. That looks good.
Looks
The
very
author.
good. Blaise is pretty good with words. I guess all developers are. I'm better with pictures.
I disagree that all developers are good with words.
I do too.
True.
I disagree Yeah, any generalization like all X are good with Y.
Yeah.
That's true. All
I find-
apples are
But
tasty.
Blaise, definitely good with words.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, in a lot of cases, I do find it to
All
be the opposite
Blaises.
of the case if they're not, I would usually kind of defer to a design or product person for some wording issues on apps.
So I don't know if we're
whatever
going to
product.
take any. Are we going to take any inputs?
I'm not sure that we do.
I mean, we could do add the timeout as an input
Schedule
right now.
based.
Do we want to think about trying to do that, or should we add it in a separate iteration?
Is this milliseconds? Is this for the time out? No. This is.
Well, I think this is just an example.
Oh,
But
I
we
see,
could, but we could add the.
Sure.
We could modify this into being the timeout. I don't know why it says 1,000 there.
Ah, right. Okay, that way we
He
can run it
typed-
with
That was me.
according to whatever timeout we want.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I would try to be more specific about what kind of time does that parameter take?
Yeah,
Yes.
like
Or
is it
the
minutes,
description,
or
right?
seconds,
The description
or
can.
whatever. Yeah. Okay, time's up. Who's
Okay.
next?
Yes, navigator is Blaise and the driver is Matt.
Okay, so I shall share my screen. I shall. Bring
And
the
this is
thingy
going to be
over
the
there.
last one because we're getting on close to the point
Okay.
of.
Thank
15
you for
minutes.
keeping time.
Yeah, thanks for keeping time.
I'm just
That is
looking at
super
the clock.
useful.
Okay.
No, it's useful. I tend to get lost in time.
Just in time.
Bless
Is
you.
that? I think
So
that's.
So we're writing
that
a
a
description of this
film?
parameter.
So
Ooh.
we're writing a description of this parameter. This parameter is, I think, the number of
Milliseconds.
it's the seconds, right? That this is allowed to run.
I feel like it's the amount of time we want between.
Oh,
runs,
it's actually
if
it's
I'm
in our
not.
source code. It's in our source code. So
Okay.
I think, in other words, I think it's in our. I think that's right, isn't that, Matt? If we look in our what's the name of that thing? If we look in source retire-inactive-contributors.ts. Oh no, that doesn't make sense.
So what I was
It
thinking
was
this
in the-
parameter would be the amount of time before someone becomes inactive. So we can have it be a configurable parameter. So when we're testing
That's-
this, we can set it to like 1 second or
I
10 or
see.
2 minutes or something, and then it'll be easier for us to test it. So I was
Okay.
thinking we could make that parameterizable. We could also have parameters for this, which are like the name of the retiree group team. So instead of hard coding that we've got a group called alumni, that could be a
Right.
parameter that we pass to this action to say,
Right.
when you retire people, move them into this team. That could be another action. But we can add those in later iterations. We could add this in a later iteration as well. There's plenty of documentation about the inputs. So we
Okay.
could just forget about this.
You
Should
wanna
we just
comment it
forget about
out,
it for
or-
now?
Let's
try-
let's forget about it.
I'd like to forget about it, but I'm not the navigator.
Let's keep it simple.
Yes,
Right.
let's
So we'll
do
have
that.
an initial run without parameters to see if
Yeah.
it even
Fabulous.
does the
Yes.
job.
And I believe that in index.js we have everything we need.
Well, we've got index.ts. We haven't compiled dist index.js. It looks like we're going to need to maybe change our TS configs to create that. This is a pretty hairy TS config, whereas the one in
Can't you just change it to
the one in the example is a lot simpler. It just looks like that.
Oh, I see. Well,
This is
let's
the
see.
Probot
Compiler
one.
options, ES6. Could we, ColonJS? We could probably get away with it.
compiler options, target.
Shall I just grab all of that and paste it over?
Yeah.
Oh, see, things like that would scare me.
What did that do?
Oh, well, we can talk about that if you want offline. There's some tricks in terms of just visually scanning what matters in the file.
Oh, exclude. So we want to also exclude. See this error here?
Yes.
We want to also exclude the features, I suppose.
Everything in the features directory.
Well, in
Okay.
terms of doing TypeScript compilation, because we don't want that to compile that into the production source code.
Ah, got it.
So I
Okay.
think now if I do TSC, will that create a dist folder? Gosh, it's a bit slow. Why is it so slow?
So is this going to compile every time the action runs, or should we commit a compiled binary?
Well, it's not compiled binary, but it's going to be compiled or transpiled JavaScript in a dist directory. If we can get past this,
Okay.
why is that failing? Source index TS is calling retire-inactive-contributors, and we haven't actually imported that function. So shall I fix that?
Yes.
Let's try again.
And we'll probably want to, so that'll become a commit to this repo.
Yeah, exactly.
So if this works, we probably want to do a commit because that's kind of a big change, big-ish.
All right, so it's done. Did it make a dist directory? I don't see one.
No, it didn't.
I don't really understand why
Do
that
we have the
is.
proper, so in our output, in our index.ts, do we have an output directory?
You don't normally specify it in there. It's normally in the ts config.
Oh,
So
okay.
it says outdir. Oh, that's lib. That's interesting. So I thought we copied this from the. So that's where it is.
Okay.
So we could either change that to be dist in the ts config, or we could change the action YAML to point to lib index.js. I don't really care.
I don't really care. I don't know what's idiomatic.
I don't understand why the TypeScript example, though, that we're copying is using lib when it's then using dist. I'm confused about that.
That is funny. Okay.
I don't know if they've got an extra step somewhere that's build just uses TSC. Yeah, I don't understand. Okay, well, should we try just using lib here?
Oh, lib might be for install versus dist.
I don't know. Well, let's change that to be dist there. Oops, TSC. So this takes what TSC does, Kate, is it takes the TypeScript code and it compiles it to JavaScript. TSC is TypeScript compiler.
Oh.
There's something very slow about it. I don't know why it's so slow. There we go. So now we should have a dist directory. We do. And it's got our index.js in it. So should we commit this?
Yes, because your time is up.
Oh, okay, yes.
So I'm going to add everything here.
So that was very timely.
And I'm going to say,
Yes.
I'm going to get that across there. Let me see if I can get the things with the co-authors. In fact, I've got you in here, right? Oh, I haven't got Mona.
Oh.
See, yeah, I couldn't figure out how to get in, but probably because I didn't sign in. I don't even know what my credentials are for this.
Do you have do you want to maybe text him your email, the GitHub ID, your GitHub email?
Can you just tell me it, Mona? Do you remember?
I think I just use my Gmail. I mean, I use my Gmail. I use my work email too. You can keep my Gmail on there.
Tell me what it is.
It's MONAGZ.
Like that?
Yeah.
And what are we doing here? We are compile or add action.yaml to root. Right, that's what we've done. So if I push that, I know I'm over the end of my turn, but I want to see what happens if I go to our test repo.
You're gonna trigger the action again?
Yeah, exactly. How do I do it? Where's the button? That one. There. Go. So we should see a different error hopefully now. It's bound to be an error of some sort. But at least a bit of different error. Yep. Oh, okay. So what we got was an error saying function not implemented from retire-inactive-contributors JS line 5, which is kind of exactly what we would expect, actually, isn't it? Because
that's what I saw in the source code.
That's what we've got in the middle of our function. So it's actually running our code now. That's pretty big.
Very cool.
Exciting. Now we just have to make it do something. But that can come later. So shall I, does someone else want to drive for the retro, or shall I just share the Miro board?
I've pasted the link and I was thinking to speed it up if maybe rather than we spend 3 minutes, everybody around Robin just say one thing that stood out for them. And Matt, you can go first.
Okay, I'm just going to get it on the screen first. Where are we?
At the bottom, 1 April, the
This
empty.
one?
Yes, there we
Okay.
go.
One thing that stood out.
Either positive or negative. So I like would be something that's good that stood out. I wish would be something that could be better.
Yeah, I'm just having a moment to just reflect.
Okay. Does anybody else want to go so long? Blaise?
Super quickly, I would say I'm impressed at the speed with which Mona was able to jump in and add value. And also, I think it might have helped if we had done a touch more homework in terms of the system, the requirements for the work that needed to be done, so we could have all the links handy, like references and such.
I'm just going to write that down for you.
And Mona, are you ready to share?
I'm kind of trying to navigate the Miro board right now.
Oh, we're down here. Can you find us? I can see your cursors higher up.
You're up at the top.
Maybe I can. Oh, I can click on where you are.
Yes, find in board.
Click and hold the mouse button.
If you click on the icon in the top banner with the people, just say find this person. I think it's there.
Oh, I think I got
so
it.
If you click on Matt, no, it's not that.
Yeah, I kind of want to say that we.
You are there.
Yeah,
there you are.
I think I want to say that we made good progress today, but I don't know.
I was feeling like I couldn't put that into words, but that was the thing I wanted to say as well. Like it feels like we're actually starting to get some stuff. It's pulling together a bit because we saw the action actually run in GitHub.
I feel like, yeah, I felt like I had to be more specific than that, but I wasn't. And I liked also that it was my first time seeing an action like that. Like I've only done actions inside the same repository. So that was interesting. And
Like a
an action
standalone
in
action.
action. You should write an action in action. No, that's too vague though.
It doesn't matter. We know what you mean. Yeah.
So Matt, did you want to add onto yours, or
No, it's
are
fine.
you happy with that?
It's fine.
So I've got two that I really enjoyed. The fact that you used the values, to me, that was just spectacularly awesome. And then the other thing that also is like, I just had this bubbles inside of me going like champagne when the tests failed and we realized, we never did what we were supposed to do and nobody thought of it. So it's kind of like the process is forcing you to do the right thing, and I love that.
Yes.
How do I put that into words?
Yeah, I think we structured it that way outside in, right? But then I think I didn't realize that there was nothing there. It's just like,
Nobody did.
Yeah.
I thought there was this thing in me asking, but when did we do it? We never actually got to that because I've been to all the sessions except last week.
Yeah.
And then
the
I thought maybe I
BDD,
just
right?
missed it.
No.
So,
Champagne bubbles of happiness. That TDD is a really good process to make sure that we are doing the right thing.
Yeah, and like we're even doing TDD by like manually.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like this is still, they're manual tests, but we're still doing the same thing of like build the thing that you wish you had, and then when it doesn't work, fix it.
Yep.
Rather than sort of trying to do it from the inside. Oh, actually, another little thing I appreciated is that we descoped the action input. I don't know if you remember that. Like just at the very end when I was driving and Blaise was my navigator, and we had that example action file, and we just cut it out just to make it simple. That was good.
That's maybe why everything is broken now.
No.
Oh, no, it's not. So do we need any actions for next week, or are we good to say happy weekend and enjoy the week? Do we need to do any homework?
I have a kind of a niggle that the repository's full of Probot clutter.
Yes.
And I'd quite like to clear it out.
Okay.
So I don't know whether we could leave that for doing together as a mob next week, or one of us could try and work on a pull request between now and next week to remove all of the clutter, and then we have a kind of a cleaner, simpler repo to work with. And I mean, I could stick my hand up to do that unless anybody else wants to do it, but I just feel like it might be sort of a good facilitatory thing for the code base, just to get rid of all that old clutter.
Sure. Yeah.
I agree. That would be good. So
Okay,
I added
can do
on
that.
the board. I feel if we do it as a team, that would be good for me. But if people rather want to do it offline to feel that we can do something productive, I'm good with that as well.
Yeah, I don't know how complicated, how many steps it would take, but certainly the idea of like running the test, seeing it pass, getting rid of all the files, and then running the test and seeing that it still passes is kind of a cool experience. That's like refactoring.
Well, maybe, how about, is it a good middle ground if I try and write a pull request and then we can review that pull request?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's great.
That, or we can give it as an option for the people who show up next time to say, do we want to do this or do we want to continue?
Yeah.
And then we keep it on the board.
Yeah.
But I like that idea with the review.
So actually what we could do with this is add it as a GitHub issue in the repo. So, but this, I guess we probably haven't got time to do that now.
I'm not sure, but I feel like it might be the first
issue.
collaboration session where I fully participated. I'm not sure. I don't
Woohoo!
think I don't think I
Yay!
was on for like the whole thing in the previous ones, but I could just be misremembering.
I think that might be true as well. Yeah, you were more kind of lurking, and then you had to go away. Yeah, yeah. It was really nice to have you fully part of it, Mona. And it's going to get more important the more we get into the deeper into the JavaScripting as well. Your JavaScripty skills are going to become more and more
That's the
useful.
part I
Yes,
like.
it's super helpful.
I like seeing the I definitely, saw some new things today as well. So I definitely learned something.
It's pretty cool. So I'm putting your name on it, Matt.
Okay, yeah, we can
Create
do
a
that.
GitHub issue, and this one I'll leave
About the
for
Plobot
an
cluster.
option.
Okay. We're at 12:30. Well, my time.
Yeah.
Yep,
We're at the
we're
90
right
minute.
on time.
Oh.
Thanks a lot, everyone.
High five.
High five.
Enjoy the weekend.
See you all next week.
Cheers.
Bye.